me go. But you could convince me that I'm wrong. I've been a train wreck without you. I guess I'll get along. In fact, I think I'm feeling much stronger. But you could convince me that I'm wrong. There's a big yellow moon just shining through your window pane. But if I should leave, I believe that it might rain, rain, rain. And you got this funny way of talking that makes me feel like you're Romeo. I know I'm no Casanova, but you could convince me that I'm wrong. There's a big yellow moon that's shining through the window pane. But the minute I leave, I believe that it might rain, rain, rain. And you make me great cup of coffee. You make me feel right at home. It's late, so late, and I should be going. But you could convince me. You could convince me. Try to convince me that I'm wrong.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
There you go. Thanks very much.
Very nice.
Thanks.
And that is
Yeah, I
Kevin
know.
STONEROCK. Here's Party of One CD and Kevin STONEROCK Twilight Town CD. Kevin, where can they get the CDs? Let's start out that way.
You can find them on my website, kevinstonerock.com. That's probably about the best place to look for the
All right.
actual physical CD. Of course, you know, they're all over the internet.
Yeah.
Free, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try not to release them for free until I sell a few CDs, you know, so I can make another project. No, I just wanted you to know, I brought this. This is a small guitar. I brought it in case you wanted to hear me play a little guitar. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bad joke.
A little guitar.
I gotta work on that one.
No, that's a good joke.
Get you a big one.
The thing is, the small body Martin sounds so good.
Oh, look,
that-
you know,
They do.
it's such a great guitar to haul. For one thing, it's so light to haul around. I do these programs at school sometimes, and plus I don't like taking my '53 Gibson out on the road. I mean, I do take it out when I'm doing a gig. I use it a lot, but as far as just beating around in a car with the guitar, that's perfect, and it's surprisingly loud for a little guitar like that. I really am. It's very playable. It's
Nice tone.
yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So welcome to Indiana Rocks.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, man. I'm just really honored to be here. You guys do a great job.
Oh, thank you. And let's just, you two basically grew up together.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much.
I've known each other since,
First day of first grade.
1962.
so I'm just gonna kind of I'm gonna kind of turn this over to you. You guys, what you met day one of first grade?
Day one of first grade. Mel and I have been friends ever since.
Oh, yeah.
And, at least I'd like to think so. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We
Recorded records at the same place.
yeah, we both worked. And in fact, Mel was the guy that kind of got me really interested in the music business when I he left. Now Barry, you and I, we used to have short hair, and Mel had long hair, you know.
Right.
But I remember Mel when he had
the longer hair. He had
short
hair longer than
first,
both
when,
of
when
us.
I first knew him, his hair was like everybody else, and short.
Yeah.
But what really inspired me was we left school in the or the spring of '73 probably.
Yeah.
Came back in the fall of '73. Mel left with short hair. He came back with hair down to here, and he came walking down the hall with a girl on each arm. I thought, man, if that's what the music business can do for you, I'm in. But no, we did. We both recorded at 700 West. But really, you guys really were inspiring. And you know, I'm friends with several of the guys that were in Primeval.
Yeah.
And I knew that's where you guys had recorded.
Yep.
And so I also, you know, so I went out and did a demo at Moe's back in '76. Paul and I were in a band called Blackfoot Canyon, a little 3-piece, 4-piece every now and then. We had to have another guy. But Paul's just a dear friend to this day. He's one of the most, you know, very faithful friend. He helped me with the album a lot. He played drums on it. And so we went out, and between the time I did the demo and the record, Mo had recommended me to the Songwriter Showcase out in LA. So I flew out there and did it. Thanks to Mo. You know, Mo was just such a big influence in my life.
Mo Whittemore.
Mo Whittemore. That's Mo Whittemore. And I heard you say on another podcast that Mo was a genius, and that is true.
Yeah.
He was a bona fide genius
Yeah.
in every sense of the word, but also very down to earth and you know, although half the time he'd be talking about something right over my head. When
Yeah.
he get to talking about airplanes or something, I didn't know what he was talking. I was
Yeah.
But now Mo taught me more probably about production than anybody. I didn't know what I was doing when I did that first album. Came into the studio with my ideas. I had a little 2-track recorder at home that I kind of was able to bounce things around and put some ideas down. But Mo taught me some really valuable lessons that I still use to this day. Plus, as we were talking yesterday, he did everything on. Now, when you guys did yours, you did 4-track, right?
Yeah.
By the time I did mine, he had graduated to 8-track, but we still did a lot of bouncing of tracks,
Yeah.
you know, so make it a lot more full. But no, as far as getting into the music business, I was honored that Mo invited me to be on his label, to be on 700 West.
Yeah.
I still, to this day, I take that as a big honor, because not everybody that recorded out there is on 700 West.
Yeah.
And you know, I listened to your podcast with J. Michael Henderson. He was kind of a big influence. You know, it's neat when you get to know local guys that are doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
And doing it so well. And so that's kind of how I got started doing this. I mean,
Yeah.
I realized that my 4th grade dream of being the next Herb Alpert was not going to work out.
Herb Albert, the Tijuana Brass.
That's right, man.
So Mel, have you ever had anybody tell you that, you know, you were an inspiration to?
No, that was the first time.
Is that right? Well, no, it's
Yeah.
true. It's true. You know, I looked up to you
Appreciate
guys
that.
and, you know, was impressed. Although as I told Mel yesterday when we talked at the Montepalooza Festival that in Newcastle, that I think Mel owes me a set of hearing aids, because I went to a Primeval show at Knightstown High School in the Student Center, which has absolutely the world's worst acoustics.
Oh, yeah.
It's just awful. And man, my ears nearly bled.
Yeah. And it even had low ceilings.
Low ceilings and like acoustic
ceilings.
tile.
Yeah. And it's still
Hard
sounded
floor.
horrible.
It was terrible. And this square looked like a square box.
And big echo chamber.
Yeah, it was hard to hear.
Well, Mel is now he's one of the founding godfathers of death metal,
Yeah.
because Primeval's been
Oh, yeah.
re-released as a death metal band.
Is that right?
Cleopatra Records.
Is that right? A death
Yeah.
metal?
Yeah, we sold it to them, and they
That's cool.
re-released it, and it's on all blood red
Uh-huh.
vinyl.
Oh wow! I got to get one of those.
And think you can order them from Cleopatra's.
What-
Yeah, they got videos out of it, and Pretty Woman, you know, that's one of my favorite
Oh, yeah.
songs on, and it's got, demons and, you know, skeletons and everything.
Oh, my
running
gosh.
around. Yeah, it's creepy.
Skeletons all playing the instruments.
Yeah.
It shows the band, but like almost in silhouette.
So it's got pictures of you guys?
Yeah, it's got pictures of them in the background, but you can't really tell,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, that's amazing. You know, I'm sure I'd have to pay more than that than I did for the first one. Mel gave me the first one. It was a primeval practice out at the old dairy, you know.
Oh, yeah, yeah, they're in Newcastle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was when we first got Dave Lawless and
Yeah.
Gene, the bass player. We had Charlie Smith for a while.
Yeah, I don't remember Gene.
Gene was the bass, he was really,
Gene
really
Cannery.
good.
So he came after Mark.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Well, actually,
Mark's site.
Mm-hmm.
I'm adding
Yeah.
context to the viewers. You guys
yeah,
go
Mark,
ahead.
Mark quit when Primeval split up. He never played a bass again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he passed away a few months
I
ago.
heard that he had passed. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know he was sick. I
So
called
after
him,
Pri-
and it's like, woo.
After Primeval, you guys kind of morphed into, you and Larry morphed into Night Owl?
Well, it was still
Dave was-
Primeval, but
Yeah.
we ended up getting, Dave Lawless.
I mean, Dave Campton was still with you guys, right?
Yeah, Captain.
Great guy.
I miss old
Yeah,
Dave.
Dave's a good guy.
Yeah, it's the whole thing about smoking bats, you know, it was a mystery, and then Jay kinda let the cat out of the bag. Man, what'd you do that for? But, yeah, it was all about taking bats out with a board up in the hayloft. Yeah. Bing!
It wasn't about smoking pot out of individual
No.
one-hitters like everybody thought they were
Yeah,
referred to as bats, and everybody thought you guys were getting high with bats.
Yeah.
When it was actually, you were killing
They're all
bats.
bad.
Yeah, turn the light on in the hayloft, and they'd come out and start going around that light, and they'd get a little wider every time, and then whang! You smoked that one?
Yeah, we do not recommend
No.
killing bats or
No.
killing anything. This was back in the, before Ozzy bit Bat's heads
Yeah.
off, so.
We were still
You
wet
guys
behind
were-
ears.
But you were, the founding fathers of torturing bats too,
Yeah.
it sounds like.
And Kennard,
In Kenner.
whoever knew Kennard would be the home of bat smokers.
Yeah, Mel and I went to school at Kennard and Greensboro. you know,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Greensboro school was
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
That was fun.
Yeah.
They had that hill there right behind it where you could slide down the hill on, you know, the ice.
On snowy days.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then we'd get in trouble because we'd have to go down in the basement and take our pants off because our pants were all soaking wet from being in the snow. Have to sit down there with the janitor with put them up
By
on
the
like a
radiator.
clothesline, yeah.
At least you didn't have a janitor with a videotape.
Oh, I hope not. Yeah, but yeah, we had a lot of fun. And Kevin would always tell stories. We'd go out at recess and sit out under a tree or something, and Kevin would always have, you know, stories about Daniel Boone.
I'm still telling stories.
Okay, let's talk about that a little bit because
He's an actor.
Thank you.
You're a performer on more
I
levels than
am,
just.
you know, and I thank you for saying actor because so many people want to say, "Oh, you're a reenactor." I've never really reenacted anything, and nothing against those guys, but that's not what I do.
Yeah.
You know, I'm proud of the fact that I haven't had a real job since 1989. But,
That's awesome.
You know, to be able to support myself just in the art with the arts, but you know, I just have to thank God for that because he saw that I had no other marketable skills and let me do this. But I remember, you talking about I did do living history. I still do living history, and mostly in school classrooms, but for other museums and theaters and wherever they'll hire me, But I started doing that in '79. I kind of needed a job, so I got a job. That's when disco hit and they quit hiring singer-songwriters. I got a job working for the Indiana Junior Historical Society, and through that I developed my boss said, I'd like you to put together, we had a big organization, judge the best junior historical society in the nation, actually, and I was just starting out. I didn't make that happen, but he said, we had a teacher workshop every February, and he said, I'd like you to put together a living history program on Pioneer. Well, funny thing was, I already loved that stuff, because I jokingly told my mom in 4th grade that I thought God was calling me to be Daniel Boone, which it's a little unclear. It could have been Vess Parker he was calling me. But anyway, so I took up that challenge and I did that program at that teacher workshop for about 110 teachers, and they all started wanting me to come to their schools. So I milked this for all it was worth. I wrote 2 other. I did one called Billy Yank, Common Soldier for the Union. That's another passion of mine, is Civil War history. I did one on the fur trade in the mid 1700s, and so those are my own proprietary creations. And so when I left, I took those characters with me and started my own business, Kevin STONEROCK's Living History, doing music still all the time. I did some Civil War, I still do some Civil War music. I work a lot with the Honeywell Arts and Education, groups like that. So between that and the music, I've been able to not make a killing, but make a living.
Yeah.
And I'm just thankful
Awesome,
for it,
man.
It's, and I enjoy my work. I don't really see myself retiring.
I hate to get up.
Yeah, I've had jobs like that. We all have.
Yeah,
That's where we just hate to get out of bed and go in and do it again. But it's not like that with me. I do, I get a little tired of traveling, sometimes just because I've done so much of it. But
That place you went in Ohio was beautiful.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
pictures you took.
yeah, I went over to Hocking Hills. I've never been over there before, but I got into something here. I'm 69 years old, probably still younger than you.
Yeah.
Maybe a month or two, but I just had a birthday. But 2
Happy
years
birthday.
ago, thank you. 2 years ago, I decided to take up horseback riding. So I always wanted to do that, and I always loved horses from a distance. But I was always kind of afraid of them because I didn't really know about them. But so I told the instructor, I said,
They're big.
they're 1,200 pound animals.
Yeah.
And I've been stepped on by them before. It's not wouldn't recommend that. I just told the instructor, I said, look, I don't want to come and learn how to ride. I do want to ride, but I said, I want to learn horses. I want to learn how to communicate with them and how to work them on the ground and stuff like that, not just hop on one and ride around in a circle. So I really enjoy, and that's what I did over at Hocking Hills. It's a beautiful place, and I wrote some songs while I was over there too. Because
This is crazy. I just about took a job as like the manager of all the different cabins at Hocking Hills.
in the park.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah, like right before COVID actually.
Is that right?
COVID is what, yeah, and my partner at the time passed away during the COVID period, but we'd gone over there 3 different times, visited to make sure that we wanted to actually relocate over there and start this new venture that evidently God said, no, you're not gonna do either one of these things, but
So
that's
was
crazy.
COVID
that-
the reason you didn't do it?
Yeah, well, and then she passed away, and so
Sorry.
after COVID, that wasn't an option.
Yeah.
No longer an option, but I hadn't heard that the name since for like the past 5 years. And when
it's-
you mention that name, it's just like every episode we do, there's some incredibly crazy path crossings
Yeah.
that
What's amazing to me is that place, how have I not known about that place sooner?
Yeah, I know.
You ought to go, I mean, it's
Oh, it's
only
beautiful.
3 hours away and.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Easy drive, just beautiful, and the people were friendly, and I stayed in this little log cabin that was built in the 1820s and moved there. It was out in the middle of this 56-acre pine woods, and I kind of doubt if the original pioneers had their own private hot tub. Who knows, but it was a great, one reason I wanted to go, I just went over by myself, was to write songs, because it takes some solitude to do that. That's it's kind of been a blessing and a curse, I guess, in a way that part of me wishes that I had, and a big part of me wishes I had been able to interact with more musicians, and and I have with some, and in fact I was in a band down in Kentucky for a while back in the 90s called Bottom Dollar. We were pretty good, it was Americana, I guess you could say. But no, I still dream of taking a band out on the road, because everybody sees me as this acoustic guy.
Yeah.
And when I do a show, I think it's okay to mess up. It's a sin to be boring. It's kind of the way I look at it. And so I'm not a guy that sits on a stool and plays tune after tune that sounds the same. I mean, one thing I tell these kids, they talk to me, learn how to make a set list, that flows, and not everything in the same key or the same tempo,
Yeah.
And I try to, even though, I know I'm not gonna ever make it, as they say, who cares,
No, man.
To
You've
me, it's
already made
about a
it.
body of work, and it's about, it's how you define success.
You've already made it.
I've
You
been
just
able to-
said you've been able to live through the
That's
arts.
the way I look at it.
You've already made it.
And I have no regrets about any of that other
Hey,
stuff.
you're doing an episode with us.
That's right, man.
That makes
for
you
sure.
part of the
Absolutely.
Indiana Rocks Hall of Fame.
I believe
so.
But these days for me, it's all about a body of work. What I'm going to leave behind for my kids and for anybody that cares to listen. I don't get I don't get certain gigs because I don't do cover stuff. Now, that's not saying I never do a cover tune. I will do one if I can make it my own. I'm not going to try to sound like somebody else. It took me a long time to get to where I was like that, because I didn't have enough songs. I've probably written around 300 songs or so, I guess.
That was one of my questions. How many songs have you written?
Hard to say. I would guess somewhere in the neighborhood of 300.
Wow.
A lot of those you'll never hear, and you can thank me for that. But and a lot of times I'll start one and maybe it's funny because my mom passed away in 2020, and when I was cleaning out her basement, I found these boxes of cassette tapes that I had left there, just to store them, that had little song ideas on things that I had totally forgotten about, and I managed to put together 2 or 3 songs that just out of ones that that wasn't so bad,
Yeah.
So I heard Ray Wiley Hubbard saying, talking one time on a podcast about not judging your own work. You have no right to say that your song's no good because listen to radio. So sometimes a song has to sit for a while before you really even know what you're writing about. And I guess as far as my songwriting is concerned, my first album, I'm proud of the fact that I did it. I'm a little bit, sometimes I listen to it and I go, oh my gosh, I've come a long way since then. I don't even recognize the guy singing. My son, though, it's funny, my son says that's his favorite album of mine, which I think, what I'm hard on myself about is the writing. I think my writing improved a whole lot over, as it should. I was 20 years old when I did that. And, going back to the folky guy on a stool, that's really not me. I started out playing rock and roll. We did the same kind of things that you guys did. We did a lot of James Gang, everywhere, anything from Chuck Berry to Uriah Heep.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much
all the cool
did that stuff. And I started out as a bass player, and that's what I love playing bass. I still to this day. You play bass?
Yeah.
Well, we need to talk. But No, I mean, that, I would have been real happy just being, in fact, I wanted, when I was like 15, I thought, well, I just wanted to be a studio bass player. Just go to
Yeah.
some music, Los Angeles, somewhere, play bass and
Be
studio.
like the wrecking crew.
Yeah, obviously I wasn't that level, but, that necessity kind of, in the band that I was in kind of forced me to start playing guitar. And then my musical taste, in the early 70s came along and country rock hit. That's what, that swept me in, I was really into that stuff. And, one or two of the other guys weren't so much into that, so,
Does that mean?
I think it must be because mine's
Yeah.
off, but that's okay. So I started, and I got really into harmony too. I love singing harmony. Listen to my first album, I sounded like Andy Gibb singing with myself there. I was just some of that falsetto harmony. I've learned to sing falsetto better than that, but again, it was just a big learning experience to do that album. And I guess I'm proud of it because from what you have to look at it for what it was. Like I said, it was 20 years old.
Yeah.
And
And
how many
I thought it
albums?
was good enough to put me on the label. So
Yeah.
How many albums do you have?
I think 8 if you count one. I did one called, well, probably 9 if you count the one with the Bottom Dollar. Solo albums, I've got 7 that I have.
And then you did one with the band in Kentucky?
We did one with that band, which was a pretty good album. It's called Story in the Stone. I don't know if it's available anywhere or not, but everybody wrote and everybody sang. And we had some incredible harmonies and some good players, fiddle player, a couple fiddle players that would double on mandolin and guitar and stuff like that. So that was a fun experience. One of the funniest stories about that band, I wrote this outdoor drama called The Point in Time, which was performed down in Carrollton, Kentucky. It actually went for 7 seasons.
Nice.
And I produced it, I wrote it, produced it, and kind of directed it and acted in it and some, And so at the end of this, in the band, Bottom Dollar, we provided the music for a lot of it and wrote songs for it. The song Indian Man that I wrote was written for that play. But we were doing a cast party at General Butler State Park across the Ohio River in Carrollton, Kentucky. And this guy came across the lake and was, man, I really love your music. We got to talking to him and he said, yeah, my name's Manson. Charlie's my cousin. And so we packed up and left pretty quickly.
Ooh, man.
Yeah, about the only thing,
He was a nice guy. I mean,
my cousin was Adolf Hitler, that's
Yeah.
about the only worst thing you could,
Exactly.
My cousin wasn't, by the way, for those.
Oh, yeah. But
Have you two ever played together?
I don't think we ever have.
No.
I'd like to.
I wish we did.
Yeah.
I wish we could.
Well, let's do it before we kick off.
Yeah.
Actually, we got a little
Bucket
something.
list.
We got a little something coming up, Kevin, that we've been waiting for this opportunity to talk it to you about. We like to do it while we're recording so that we don't have any contracts. We got you on tape saying.
Yeah.
We're putting
I
on.
go cheap anyway.
We're putting on the Indiana Rocks Hall of Fame show at the Vogue on December 28th from 4 o'clock till probably 8-ish, 9-ish, who knows. And we would like to have you come over.
Man, if I'm available, I would.
If
love
you
to.
are not
I
booked,
would-
that's
I
what.
would check.
If you're not booked, if you're not on
Yeah.
vacation,
The
if you're not,
28th.
yeah.
28th.
What we're doing is we've got a lot of acts, and everybody's doing like a 15-minute thing, and we're gonna have like 2 20-minute things. The 20-minute things are tribute to Roadmaster and tribute to the Faith Band. Then everybody else is doing like little 15-minute or 10-minute, 5-minute, whatever.
No, I'd love to be involved.
We got some people that you don't run in the same circles with, that it'll be very cool to get everybody together.
Oh, yeah.
And at the end of this thing, we're gonna have an all-star jam and rotate some drummers in and out and rotate.
As long as I get to play with this guy.
That's what I was. Well, somewhere, if you can make it out there, somewhere
Oh, man.
in that.
Yeah.
We've got Asher Ben Rubin,
Oh, yeah.
the Mighty Adam Smash, is coming back, and he's gonna do a segment. We've got Rods and Cones. We've got Phil Purley and the Enablers. We've got Mike Milligan and Steam Shovel, Project 19 Band,
Great.
Super Trooper.
That'll be fun.
Tickets on sale now at the Vogue.
That
And
sounds like a lot of fun.
yeah, what we're doing is we're honoring, you know, and we're gonna try to have some little, you know, some kind of, you know, token of esteem.
Well, I appreciate that.
And
Yes.
we're honoring the people that, you know, are in our Hall of Fame.
Sure.
We don't have a building, we just got a show. And we're gonna have a show and
I would love it.
let everybody play the Vogue one final time. Or play the Vogue for the first time.
I played the Vogue twice. You were there one time.
Yeah, he opened up for the Dregs.
Yeah, I mean, that's like we were talking.
We talked about that.
Yeah, like yesterday, you know. I was
Talk about it. Talk about that a little bit.
Brewer and Shipley opening for Jethro Tull or something
Yeah.
like that, you know.
Yeah.
But that's, yeah, I opened there for the Dregs, and I also opened for Marshall Chapman. And the funny thing was, later on, I spent a lot of time in Nashville in the '90s. I opened for Marshall Chapman at the Bluebird, but also, you know. You know, the Vogue was, it was kind of intimidating to me when at the time I was just a young kid, the Dixie Dregs, you know. So, and I broke a string from I think my first or second song. Boing, here it goes, and I was like, I hardly ever break strings. I blame it on the fact that, well, I was nervous for one thing, and you know, playing at the time back then, playing acoustic guitar with a rock band, you had to be. Somebody wants to talk to you, Mel. You know, when you're playing with a, back in the '70s, monitors, we were never blessed with monitors. You know, we didn't have good monitors at all. And trying to hear myself, you know, I developed a bad habit of playing too hard, you know, I think, on the acoustic. And, so, you know, playing at the Vogue was a fun experience, a lot of good memories from that.
Did you get to meet the Dregs, or was it just an in and out thing?
Just pretty much an in and out thing. I may have met Steve Morse, I think, but
Yeah, you know Sherman Stockton, right?
yeah. Well, I know. I mean, we're friends.
Yeah, you know,
I know of him. I know who he is.
Yeah, he's big time with Steve Morse.
Yeah, he's got some good clients. I mean, some
Yeah.
top name clients.
Yeah, that Greg Martin.
Yep.
Yeah, he's been with.
Have you guys had Greg on yet, Martin?
Yeah.
Well, we've interviewed him and hadn't aired yet.
Okay. But yeah, and I was thinking also about. I'm all over the place. I hope you don't mind. I was thinking these thoughts come into my head.
No, that's
About
what we
the
do.
Greenfield music community. You know, I back in the '70s, I worked at a little music store where Roslyn Bakery was, close to there. And Jay Wilfong came and headhunted me and brought me down to Main Street Music and taught guitar for him. And you know, through that association, I've made some great friends. You know, Dave Scott and I are just really good friends. Greg Hall, who Greg,
Rest in peace.
Greg was one of my best friends. You know,
Yeah, he's awesome.
he was a good fishing buddy. You know, we loved to fish together. He's a funny guy, and I really miss him, and we all do. You know, Jerry DeRome. So many good memories from that place, and you know, I had a lot of guitar students that I'm still in contact with. In fact, the guitar that I was playing yesterday was a 1953 Gibson. One of my guitar students used to come in and play that. It's like 78 or so. She would bring that Gibson, beautiful 1953 Southern Jumbo. She'd bring it into the store, you know, and take her lesson. And I had this Alvarez, which I still have and love. And it's Brazilian rosewood, and you know, for $175, you couldn't beat them at the time. But it's no Gibson. And I said, you know, maybe, would you mind if I play yours and you play my Alvarez, and we'd swap guitars. So out of the blue, like maybe 8 or 10 years ago, she calls me up. I hadn't talked to her in all this time, knew nothing about what was going on with her. And she calls me and said, would you like to buy that guitar? I know you really like it. Well, I haven't seen it in 30 years, you know, or more. I said, well, you know, I always liked it, but let me take a look at it. So got together and probably had the same strings it had on in 1978.
Yeah.
But it still sounded pretty decent, and so I ended up selling a couple things that I had and bought that guitar. That guitar's inspired a lot of good songs too, so it was a good purchase.
Yeah, Greg give it to work over.
Greg gave it the work over. I was laying on my I was sitting on my living room floor, and the guitar was laying on the floor there, and I looked at it, and it's like, and I think the guitar might be pictured on. You can see the backs you can see the backside of the guitar neck there.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I looked, and the top was like, well, I thought, wait, that doesn't look right. It looks like the top's lifting off. So I pushed down, and it went down. Oh my gosh! And so I took some wood glue and put it in the joint, put books on top of it, and immediately called Greg. And took it over. He said, "Well, you did the right thing." He said, "That thing was ready to explode."
Oh.
And so that would have been an expensive
Oh, man,
thing to
yeah.
deal with.
We've heard that Gibson heads is popping off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and those old ones, that glue dries out.
Yeah.
Those Gibsons, they have their own smell too. They just got
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the finish that they use on them, just sticky. I love that smell. You know, it's
Yeah.
kind of goes down in
Yeah, Jay sent me a friend request.
Jay Wilfong.
Did he really?
Nice.
This morning, matter of fact.
Jay, after Primeval, was the
Buccaneer.
founding force behind Buccaneer.
Yeah.
Jay now has a Starstruck Ranch. He used to belong to Reba McEntire.
Yeah, he's,
Turned into a venue.
yeah, it's a,
That is so
winery
cool.
and a venue.
Yeah, well, that's another
I
kind
don't
of.
know, maybe it's not a vineyard anymore.
No, I don't think so. I think it was a horse stable at one
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
That's what it was, and they turned it into a real nice venue. But which reminds me of another kind of an odd story. Back in the '90s, I was spending a lot of time in Nashville, and I never told them I didn't live there. You know, that's kind of
Yeah.
a kiss of death. You know, I was down there enough that people thought I did. You know, some of the people that I ran into, and made a few good contacts. But I started out doing the open mic thing because that's kind of where you gotta start. And the Bluebird, they eventually started inviting me to play there. Did some in the rounds and other shows, you know. But during one of the first times there, I was standing in the line to sign up for the open mic, and this guy behind me looked real familiar. And finally, I said, "Are you from Greenfield?" He said, "Yeah, pretty close." I said, "Are you Dan Maudlin?" I said, "Yeah." So we were right. So they ended up booking us together a lot of different times. We played at the Bluebird together several times, you know. And Dan's a good guy. He lives in Bowling Green, so of Scott and Maudlin, you know, another
Yeah.
Indiana,
Yeah.
legendary Indiana group. So, you know, it's kind of one of those small world stories, I guess.
Yesterday at or at the Montapalooza thing during our stream, I introduced you as a legendary Indiana troubadour. Do you think that's?
I think I'll take that. Yeah, that's kind of, you know, I guess when I think of a troubadour, I think of a storytelling minstrel.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what a lot of my songs are story songs. And I find those kind of songs are somewhat easier to write because you know where you're going with them. There's a song on my Twilight Town album that I'm probably as proud of it as I am of any other song I've ever written. It's called Black Diamonds, which Black Diamonds is an old guitar string, as you probably know. And that 53 Gibson kind of, the song poured out of that. It's like, sometimes songwriting is like, you know, really difficult. You know, it's just, you know, pulling weeds out of the garden or something and never getting them on. It's a bad analogy, but sometimes it's really hard. Other times it's just like being on a canoe going down a fast stream, you know, and you've seen all these images going by that you catch. And that song, that Black Diamond song, kind of came out as in a cinematic form almost. And I think I actually could make a movie. It's about a guy that was, and I don't know where it came from. The only thing that I do know as the character in the song, his name is Ray. And that's the guy that it's not about the guy that owned that guitar, but that was his name, was Ray, which is where I came up with that. And as in the song, you know, that Ray, the real Ray, was from Greenfield and owned that guitar, and he used to play that thing in department stores at Christmas time in Newcastle, Indiana. And so I kind of borrowed that idea, but from there on out, it's in my mind. This guy was he's a World War II veteran who's dealing with survivor's guilt, I guess, and also, and he uses alcohol to deal with that. But yet he's a very talented guitar player, and people are always, you know, saying, you know, you belong in Nashville down on Music Row. He'd always mumble something about St. Lo, you know, where he'd been battling France, you know. So at the end of the song, I shouldn't give the song away, I guess. He ends up, you know, they found him by the railroad track, face down in the sand, bottle in his pocket, silver star in his hand. You know, you know, Silver Star is the second highest award you can get in the military. So he was a war hero. It's a tragic story. And you know, after I wrote it, I actually cried after I wrote the song and listened to it. But he could make them talk, he could make them sing, he could make those little black diamonds ring. So
nice.
That's one of my favorite songs.
Well, we opened with a song. Would you mind playing another one to close us out
I'll
here?
play that one if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Normally I play this on the guitar that I wrote it on. You know, the Gibson really sells the song. Came from Alabama, no banjo on his knee. He had a beat up Gibson, made in 1953. He came north to work the graveyard shift in a rust belt factory. Him and Mogan David lost that job, so he wandered to a little town, doing odd jobs for his pay. He'd save a little money, and then he'd drink it all away. He'd talk about his buddy, who he lost in 44. Never even made it to the shore. He never had much money, but the one thing that he had was a gift for playing guitar that he picked up from his dad. He'd play for folks at Christmas in department stores downtown. They would come from miles to hear that sound. He could make it talk, he could make it sing, he could make those old black diamonds ring. He could make it laugh, he could make it whine, he could make those old black diamonds shine. And the world seemed like a finer place when Ray would open up his case. You could make it on the Opry, folks would often say. He'd just smile and shake his head, turn the other way. You belong in Nashville, down on Music Road, but he'd always mumble something about St. Lo. Behind the hardware store, in a room they let him use. He was master of the fretboard, but he never beat the blues. Sometimes I'd sit and listen underneath his windowsill, late at night when all the streets were still. He could make it talk, he could make it sing, he could make those old black diamonds ring. He could make it laugh, he could make it whine, he could make those old black diamonds shine. And the world seemed like a brighter place when Ray would open up his case. Found it by the railroad track, face down in the sand. A bottle in his pocket, a silver star in his hand. They found his old Gibson in a pawn shop south of town. And I cried when they laid him in the ground. Sometimes late at night I hear that sound. He could make it talk, he could make it sing, he could make those old black diamonds ring. He could make it laugh, he could make it whine, he could make those old black diamonds shine. He could make it talk, he could make it sing, he could make those old black diamonds ring. And the world seemed like a better place when Ray would open up his case. Black diamonds. There you go.
That's a beauty there.
I'm not crying, you're crying.
Thank
Kevin STONEROCK, everybody. Thank you so much,
Thank
Kevin,
you,
for
Barry.
being here.
Well, pleasure, man. Love you.
Love you guys.
It is a dark world.
Be
Yes, sir.
alive.
Be alive.
That's right.